All protocols observed. Still good morning. I'm very happy to be in this occasion of launching this very important milestone event, the Judicial Review Committee. As mentioned by some of you, we should have established this committee within 3 months of the transitional period. Now, we're going to the end of the transitional period. We're within the 7 months of the transitional period. But they say, better late than never. So this important committee is being launched now. You can also read that even if the transition is coming to an end, this committee is very important for the Republic of South Sudan. As justice is important. I also welcome Justice John, the Speaker of the Council of States. They have joined us. So we have a lot to do. They're given only 6 months to come up with a report. I believe when they were nominated, particularly the national component of this team were nominated 8 months ago, about 8 months ago. And it's only today we are launching their work. We hope we will, in government, double efforts to ensure that they do their work within this time specified, which is 6 months. Importance of justice, I always underline it by a story told to me 38 years ago by a fighter who took up arms. In a conversation, I asked him, why did you take arms? We were all together in the liberation. He said, look, in my village, my chief fined me wrongly. He took my cow, gave it to another person, and fined me. From there, he joined the rebellion. If justice was done, he might not have done that. So many people take justice. I think all of us, we take justice seriously. The chair and the deputy chair of this committee, I believe you will hear a lot of stories from the national component. about justice, about injustices, about quality, equity, rule of law in this country. I want to go back to our history in South Sudan about judiciary. When Sudan was one, and since the Addis Ababa agreement, South Sudan had always tried to have a different judicial system. This was achieved in the CPA, where South Sudan, despite the national judiciary, South Sudan had a judiciary, which was also headed by a Chief Justice. But we were still one country. There was one reason that in the CPA this was done. It was because we wanted to seal South Sudan from the Islamic laws which were prevailing in the rest of Sudan. Now, when we have become independent, we now have a judiciary which we expect to be independent, to be transparent, to ensure that rule of law is prevailing in the country. But the debate on system of the judiciary is not yet concluded. If you go to CPA, the liberation movement had pushed the whole country that there will be a national judiciary and there shall be a state judiciary. A recognition of the diversity in the country. That was one Sudan. A recognition of the diversity of the country. Today, as an independent South Sudan, that provision has fallen out in our constitution. Compare the interim constitution of Sudan, the interim constitution of Southern Sudan, with the current transitional constitution of South Sudan. In Schedule B, you will not find a mention of the state judiciary. But in the other versions, previous one, you will find a mention. Us from other disciplines always tell judges, you are slow in accepting change. That should not be the case in our country. Change is necessary for justice to be dispensed. So I hope as a committee you will be looking into these aspects. The agreement talks of the country moving to a federal system. I think you'll grapple with this. Our institutions are not yet complete You are doing reform in a system where the institutions are not complete. We have not resolved the debate on, now we're moving to a federal system. How do we put the structures of a judiciary under a federal system? Do we go back to the debate of the CPA? Or do you look at this judiciary as one national judiciary from top to the bottom, administered by the Chief Justice, or will you give an allowance for the fact that this country is moving to federalism? Will you have state judiciaries running in parallel with national judiciary? I think you shall get papers. You shall get papers on these aspects from those who are interested in reforming the judiciary. Some people prefer to say, well, let's do this now. Then when we are more settled, then we can take another step. Yeah, but let me make a summary. I want you to look at these aspects. When he got appointed the two eminent judges, I had a debate with Ziga to say, look, you have not put into consideration that we're moving to a federal system. Uganda is a unitary state. Kenya is a devolved system. We are going to a federal state. I hope the people you will bring from these countries have the experience of federal states judicial systems. In this country, we also have a unique situation. Most of our litigation are based on customary law, customary courts. If you go to the counties, the statutory courts do less. The customary courts are the one operational. And in our constitution we say we recognize the customary law. Which is something you must put into consideration. Our judiciary, a good number of judges have left the judiciary. One reason could be low pay. The working conditions in the judiciary is not attractive to many. And you will be discussing capacity, personnel, building. Our universities, the number of graduates they produce yearly are fewer than our requirement. And also, even when they graduate, if we have not expanded the judiciary, they don't get employment. So let me declare let me declare the launch open. Thank you very much.